Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Shang. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Mass testing has been a hallmark of China's COVID-0 approach, and officials have mobilized a legion of private diagnostic companies to help with the process. But inaccurate results produced by some firms have led to uninfected people with false positive results being sent to makeshift hospitals in Shanghai and infections not being detected in a timely manner in Beijing. Last week, Beijing police detained 17 employees of a COVID-19 lab for failing to test samples properly. Workers at the lab diluted samples to the point that infections may not be able to be detected, officials said at a briefing last Friday. It led to cases not being found and spawned the risk of further spread, said Li An, an official with the Beijing Municipal Health Commission. The city will tighten supervision over labs, including daily inspections. Still, officials said that the outbreak was coming under control, with all cases detected in the 24 hours found in quarantine. Community spread is a key metric used by government officials to determine the severity of an outbreak and whether to ease restrictions. Shanghai began unraveling its lockdown after reporting consecutive days of 0 cases in the community. In Beijing, anxiety over the social costs of wide-ranging curbs is mounting. Last Friday, the city's health commission set up a task force to investigate an incident of a person who died due to delayed treatment. His family claimed that an ambulance took too long to arrive due to COVID controls. Officials have suspended the relevant staff at the Medical Emergency Center and vowed that the treatment would not be delayed for anyone. Anger over the incident is spreading on social media platforms, echoing similar episodes in Shanghai and Xi'an, where COVID restrictions prevented timely medical care, resulting in deaths. Local officials have faced growing unhappiness and pushback from residents over the harsh rules, posing a challenge to President Xi Jinping's deployment of the strategy nationwide. Shanghai is slowly emerging from an intensive, almost 2-month-long lockdown, while keeping residents confined to their homes. People are still being subject to a range of curbs on their movement, as authorities strive to prevent a return of cases in the community. China is struggling to balance its need to hit a growth target of about 5.5 this year, which is becoming less tenable as the rest of the world opens up and more transmissible virus variants take hold. China's borders remain closed. All cases and their close contacts are put into government isolation, and a consistent, sometimes disruptive mass testing remains a key part of the COVID playbook. Profits at the Chinese industrial firms shrank in April for the first time in 2 years. On Wednesday, May 25th, Premier Li Keqiang chaired a rare emergency meeting attended by 10,000 party cadets. Mr. Li warned that economic growth risked slipping out of a reasonable range. Local officials throughout China were given a list of objectives to focus on this year, including better balancing the containment of COVID with economic growth. On Sunday, May 22nd, residents of an upscale Shanghai compound took to the streets to decry lockdown restrictions imposed by their community. By the following morning, they were free to leave. The story quickly spread on chat groups across the Chinese city last week, sparking one question in the minds of those who remained under lockdown: shouldn't we do the same? By the end of the week, other groups of residents had confronted management in their complexes, and some had won at least a partial release. It is unclear how widespread they are. The incidents reflect the frustration that had built up after 2 months of lockdown, even as the number of new daily cases has fallen to a few hundred in a city of 25 million people. They are also a reminder of the power of China's neighborhood committees that the ruling Communist Party relies on to spread propaganda messages, enforce its decisions, and even settle personal disputes. Such committees and the residential committees under them have become the target of complaints, especially after some in Shanghai and other cities refused to allow residents out even after official restrictions were relaxed. More than 21 million people in Shanghai are now in precaution zones, the least restrictive category. In theory, they are free to go out. In practice, the decision is up to their residential committees, resulting in arbitrary rules. Some are allowed out, but only for a few hours with a specially issued pass for one day or certain days of the week. Some places permit only one person per household to leave. Others forbid people to leave at all. According to AP report, Weronika Chusisinska is a graduate student from Poland who posted vlogs about her experience in Shanghai lockdown. She said she had already been given at least 3 different dates when her residential complex was going to reopen, and none of them were real. 2 days after the Sunday night breakout at the upscale Huixianju compound, more than a dozen residents of Chusinsinska's complex confronted their managers. The residents demanded to be allowed to leave without time limits or restrictions on how many per household. After the demands were not met, some returned to protest a second day. This time, 4 police officers stood watch. On Thursday afternoon, community representatives knocked on the doors of each resident with a new policy. Write their name and apartment number on a list, take a temperature check, scan a barcode, and they were free to leave. Chusinsinska said, "We got the possibility of going out just because we were brave enough to protest." One primary reason that China's megacities are able to enforce movement restrictions is that hundreds of millions of people in China live in gated apartment compounds or walled neighborhoods that can be easily blocked off. The front line for enforcement are the neighborhood committees that are responsible for keeping track of every resident in every urban household nationwide and enforcing public health and sanitation rules. The importance of neighborhood committees dwindled in the 1990s as the Communist Party relaxed the restrictions on the movement of citizens. But they have been undergoing a resurgence in an ongoing tightening of societal controls under President Xi Jinping. Shanghai authorities have declared a June target for life to return to normal date, but some people aren't waiting, pushing the boundaries bit by bit. Indeed, demand and you shall receive. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.